Welcome back to episode. It's episode 7.
Five? Is it 7?
Yeah, I think
Holy shit!
episode 7, I believe. Of
Time flies.
Hmm?
Time flies.
Time flies. Time does fly. Yeah. So for the love of oats, welcome back. I'm joined here by my homie Vicky Masita.
Hello.
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 And of course, I am Jack Richardson. So, Vicky, what have you been up to?
Same as usual, man. It has actually been a pretty decent week. So this week we are both taking a deload because last week we were making some insane jumps in terms of strength gains and in terms of recovery and in terms of body weight and things like that. So the accumulation of fatigue really did kind of catch up with us both. Went into leg session on Monday as per usual, all ready to kind of hit a decent session with some decent PBs like we always do on a leg day. And both of us were just like, I'm not having a very good session today. No, it was just wrong. So lifts that were potentially very, very easy the week before, it kind of like dawned on us that it was like, actually, we're still pushing the weight and the weight is fine, but it just isn't feeling very good. So because of that, we decided, you know what, we're just going to take it back. We'll have a little bit of a play around in the gym and see what works for us. So we took the glute drive out. We just reduced some sets, played with what we were doing. So in terms of like the leg press, for example, I decreased my weight on the leg press and made sure that I just got a really good connection, which I did. Same for you, Jack. You just kind of like swap some bits around to make it feel a little bit better for yourself.
Yeah.
And then we decided that the push session we were going to do the following day, we'd again just kind of see how things were going to go. And if it was another bad session, then we'd just call it quits and do a deload. Went into our push session at Strength Asylum. And within like the first exercise, it's like, do you know what? It's deload time. So we were just deloading and it was nice. And it was fun. And we just had a little bit of a play around and a giggle in the gym, which was really nice because we still did get a good pump on. We still got some contractions. We still got some good stretches. We still had fun and enjoyed our session. And that's what made it for us. It was the fact that you don't always have to be a slave to your logbook and think, I need to make this weight count. I need to make this progression. There's no way that I can't have fun in the gym. And I think that personally, I think we had more fun in those 2 sessions, just kind of going as we felt, than we have done in a long time. And we have fun in our sessions, we dance like idiots, right?
I think it was just because there's less pressure to perform. When that pressure's taken out, you could just be, boom.
Yeah. I say this a lot when people go up on, like when they do their powerlifting competitions and things like that, when they get into the zone of like, I am a fucking serious powerlifter, they kind of like mess things up for themselves, where it's just like, do you know what? Just go and have fun. Remember why you're doing this, because you do it for the love of it. And you do it because you really enjoy pushing heavy weight. Passion.
I remember when I first started the gym, that's the type of sessions there was no logbook, there was no nothing. There was train, what do I want to train today? Just go in and train like that. Now, is that optimal? Maybe not, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun, and it really got me into training. I think if I was to do it like the other way around, and if I went in all type of serious with a logbook and I need to hit these macros, I need to make sure all these variables are on point when I just started, I just would not fall in love with it. It just be too much, way too fast. And I think this is what a lot of people sort of don't understand when they're first getting into training. They go from nothing to all, and they go in and they put way too much pressure on themselves to perform. And this is why I tell a lot of people starting the gym, just enjoy yourself. Just enjoy yourself, because if you're eating a lot of food and you're resistance training, you're going to grow pretty much from anything, really.
Yeah, for any kind of stimulus, because it's just brand new, it's novel.
Yeah, exactly. And I just remember, like, I just had a lot of fun. I met a lot of people, you know, it was those type of sessions like, oh, cool, what you train today? Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll train that as well. Cool. Then we met some people. Yeah, can I jump in? Yeah, sound cool. Have you tried this exercise, this superset out? Boom, you know, like something stupid like 100 rep curls, and then you know it is, and you just messing around in the gym. You're still working hard, but you're messing around with different little intensity methods, and you're just exploring things that you quite like. And yeah, I built a lot of muscle. By the time I was 18, I was 218 pounds.
Holy shit.
That was heavy. That's heavier than I am now.
Did you look a lot different though?
Yeah, I was a bit fat. Yeah, of course, I was a bit fat, but there was a good chunk of muscle for an 18-year-old. And you know, that I owe that to just eating a lot and having fun in the gym. Just training really hard and just having fun with it. I think I would have built too much more muscle with a logbook at that point. But I think a logbook is sort of important towards the higher end of your ability, especially in natural ability. Sort of inch out those progressions.
Yeah.
When it starts slowing down. But I would say for a beginner intermediate, I would say it's crucial.
Yeah, I think like we've talked about this before, haven't we? And it's all about kind of like that hybrid mechanism. So you can have the logbook, but you can also train by feel as and when you need to do it. So like say, for example, I had a client who messaged me the other day and they said, oh shit, Vic, I've forgotten my logbook at home. What the hell do I do? And I'm just like, well, touch the weights, see how you feel about it, you know? And if you feel like the weight that you are pushing is fucking heavy and you're not going to get the rep range, take it down a little bit. If you feel like the weight that you're pushing is, you know, and I'm not being funny, but most people who do logbook consistently all the time, they kind of have a good idea about what they lifted the week before.
Of course. Like I spent a good amount of years just mentally logging what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I was like, right, okay, I've done that last time, and then you know, I'm going to aim to try and beat it. It wasn't as sort of strict as the logbook is, but still, there was a mental sort of thing with it. So I was always sort of done it. And here's another thing, right? A lot of people logbooking, right? It's the 21st century. Why people using books, man?
Because books are better. Books are better. You can change your book as well and have a nice fresh slog book. Like mine has cartoon characters on them and unicorns and rainbows because I'm a happy unicorny rainbow person all the time. But you can also have like Captain America ones and glittery ones. And it's so much fun having a brand new logbook. Whereas like if you're on your phone, one of the biggest things that I hate about logging on my phone, right, is you can get easily distracted. Very, very easily. You go to put in a number on your loggable logbook on your phone, and then all of a sudden you realize that you've got like 27 WhatsApps, and it's like, oh, I'll just have a look at that. And then, but you know, by the time you know it, it's like 6 minutes gone by because you've just responded to all of those WhatsApps, and it's like, oh, fuck, now I need to get on and do like, you know, 7 more sets, you know, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I tried logbooking when I first got into logbooking. I first got into logbooking in November 2018 when I joined up with AJ, and AJ, you know, was like, right, cool, you need to log your lifts. I was like, yes, sir. So I got a little notepad, brought one from the shop, and spilt my water on it.
Rookie mistake.
I was like, why aren't I doing this on my phone? I'm pretty much ever since I pretty much did it on my phone, and it sort of works. Plus, with the sheets that I'm using, I just put them in directly, because you know AJ coaches with coaching sheets, like I do, and I think like you do as well. So yeah, it was quite useful in terms of that. But yeah, I see what you're saying about getting a little bit distracted.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing with phones. It's very easy to get distracted because there's so much shit on there.
Exactly. And it's the same when people have, it's like, I don't know whether people have noticed in the videos that we put on, but I have my phone connected to my Fitbit, and I put my Fitbit in my pocket. I never have it on my wrist when I'm training, because if somebody gets in touch with me on that phone, it'll buzz off on my wrist, and you are always tempted to just kind of go, oh, what's that? You know, and again, you're distracted because
It
the
takes you out
world
of it, doesn't it?
yeah, you know, the
Of
world
course,
that's
of
filled with
course.
technology, you just can't get bloody away from it. And I've said it so many times in the past, right? My kids have got their own phones, and my daughter, oh, Jesus Christ, she's like the worst of it, because she's 14 years old. She just wants to get on all this social media. Her head is stuck in her phone all the time, to the point where she literally loses connection with reality. And I
Yeah.
think it's so important that you have that connection with reality, because you end up losing it. You know, you
It's
actually
really
become
done.
conditioned to speaking to people and having a conversation.
Yeah. Like, I find a lot of kids nowadays are a little bit socially awkward.
They
Um,
can't talk. They can't have a conversation.
no, yeah. I was the same, man. I was the same. I'm pretty much in that generation myself. Like, I grew up just playing like Hermit on my Xbox. That, I think, when I was growing up, it was sort of that crossbreed of some people still going out and playing, and some people playing on their Xbox, and now it's shifted towards more people staying inside on the phones with their Xboxes and things like that. I was the guy on the Xbox. That's probably why my posture is a little bit fucked up. But yeah, man, when I was 16, by the time I was 16, I was a little socially awkward. I'm not gonna lie. I owe it to sort of getting out, going to the gym, socializing, and just going out and just fucking off, going on my Xbox all the time to take me away from that. But yeah, some kids just, I don't know, they're sort of crippled with anxiety due to that fact, because they're just not out enough to speak to people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's like, I mean, we have a dinner table, and it's the one meal that, well, to be fair, we try and do it all the time, but obviously in the week it's a bit difficult. But at dinner time, we always sit together at the dinner table, and we have no phones. We've got nothing on. Sometimes we'll have some music on in the background or something like that. But we actually have a conversation. You know, we talk whilst we have dinner at the dinner table. And it's what I was brought up with. Now, obviously, I know that I'm of a different generation because I'm a bit older, but I was brought up to sit around a dinner table and actually converse with my family. And that's the reason why I want to do it with my kids as well. I hate it when we finish and then everybody just kind of like disperses into their own bloody bedrooms, and then that's it, you know, and I don't see them for the rest of the night until I kind of say, would you just come down and have milk and cookies before you go to bed? So,
Yeah.
you know, so we have that kind of time together as a family, because, you know, me and Scott, we wake up at like 5:30 every morning. We're straight on with work and walking the dog and that kind of thing. And we're ships passing in the night the majority of the time. So I want to be able to spend some time with my kids. But yeah, that I think is really, really important to me. I was actually going to bring up a question then that was really that was coinciding with it, and it's just gone out of my head, which is very annoying. But anyway, okay. So moving on from that until I actually remember that question that I wanted to ask about. No, it's not coming through. Not coming through. Okay, so let's go into a couple of questions. I had a question earlier on, which was tracking in the off season. Do you believe in it? And should you be mediocre at tracking, or should you be bang on meticulous? I will ask you this question because I already answered it in my Q&A.
See, this is interesting. Now, I would be a hypocrite if I was to say you've got to track fully in the off season, because I've done an off season where I haven't tracked. I've ate similar food sources every day, and then increased the amounts. That's how I've sort of stayed accountable to my intake, and that was effective. But do you know what? I did get a little bit chubby. I got to 232 pounds.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a chubby time for me. So tracking, if I was to track and been more and monitored my physique a little better, maybe I would have put on that weight. But it's debatable. Was there much need to get to that weight? Did that help me to reach new strength? Yeah, it's tricky. But at the moment, I'm tracking. I don't think you would need to be as meticulous as you are, where you're measuring things like fruit, you know, almond milk, and things like that. I mean, you can, absolutely you can. But I think, say, if your calories are super high and you're on like 4,000 calories or 5,000 calories, that will be the difference. 100 calories here or there won't make too much of a difference, but as opposed to someone on 2,000 calories or 1,600 calories, that 100 calories will potentially make a difference, especially if they're trying to be in a deficit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But if you're in an off season, you don't particularly want to be in a deficit anyway, do you?
Yeah, because that's how you make the muscle.
That's how you make the muscle, you know.
That's how you lose weight and gain muscle. No, you don't. You don't. But yeah, what my point was is, like, when your calories are lower, that those little discrepancies will make up more of your overall calorie intake. But
Yes.
you find a lot of people when they're on a high amount of calories, say, I don't know, say like a big strong man who's on like maybe 10,000 calories or something like that.
Eddie Hall.
Yeah, Eddie Hall. 100 calories isn't going to make a fucking difference to us, or maybe 500 calories. Do you know what I mean? Is it really going to make too much of a difference? But yeah, should you track in the off season? Yeah, but there's different ways of tracking. It doesn't have to necessarily be macros. You can still be, I would say, be a lot more free with your food. Explore different food choices. Don't be too regimented. Still have fun in your off season. You are in your off season, but you know, you can still live a life and still eat towards your goals. That would be my answer.
Yeah, I've said exactly the same thing realistically in my post, so I'm not going to reiterate it. It's just like there is a difference. Oh, that's the thing. There's a difference between off season and being in prep, you know, and you've got to enjoy both aspects of it. So in off season, it's like, if you're gonna have a donut every now and again, have a donut, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, it's like, if someone's just having a night and then the partner comes in or the friends come in, like, do you want this donut or whatever? I can't have it without going over my calories. And it's just a one-off. Just have the fucking donut, man. Like, I've had some clients where they're like, I'm just going out for a meal. I'm like, okay, these clients tick the boxes 9 out of 10 times. I know when they go out for a meal, they don't have a tendency to binge. So I just say, you don't really necessarily need to track it, because I know you're sensible. I've seen them go out for meals plenty of times. They make sensible food choices. They don't track it. They have a good time. They're not too worried. And the weight hasn't really fucking budged at all.
And it won't.
Yeah, and that sound. So I encourage some of my clients to not even track occasional meals, especially meals out or at special occasions. Because, you know, and this person has made the most progress he's ever made, or some of these people have.
Yeah, for sure. It helps with mental aspects towards food as well.
Definitely.
And I think that's another thing that we need to realistically kind of like hone in on, is that food is omnipresent, which basically means that it is surrounding us all the time. You're never ever going to run out of food. I work with a lot of people who are afraid that they're going to run out of food, so they tend to hoard their calories for the evening time, and just eat the boatload of their calories right in an evening time because they're afraid they're going to run out of food. So it's almost like they restrict themselves all the way through the day to have this like mini epic binge of a night time. And it's like I have to keep on saying to them, food is always going to be there. And it's the same when people are in prep. Did you ever do that thing in prep where you like hoarded all of the food that you couldn't eat in prep, put it in a cupboard, and then was like, right, I'm going to have all of the things the minute I step off stage?
The thing is with prep, I knew going into what was unhealthy and what was healthy habits from what I did in my previous prep. I was like, right, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to sit on Instagram, and I'm not going to look at loads of food porn. I'm not going to buy everything for what I'm going to eat after my competition, have it in the cupboards. I'm not going to do all this type of shit. So I would say I still picked up some unhealthy shit. Not gonna lie, like I did a shitload of water onto my oats, and I did baking powder into it and shit like that. That wasn't the best thing to do, but again, next time
Yeah, but
round, I
that's
know
more for like satisfying hunger. That's not
it
to
is.
actually
It
have a
is.
binge, is it?
Yeah, it is. Like I went through a little weird phase where I was the food porn that I was looking at was my own food. I would take photos of it and I'd be like, wow, that meal's so good that I made it. And I was looking at my own prep food. I was like, this surely is better than looking at like stuff that I can't eat because I can't eat this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes me excited to eat the food that I am going to eat.
Indeed.
But you can never really truly satisfy your hunger when you're on prep. I think the thing that you need to learn to do is handle it, not
Yeah.
satisfy it. Yeah, you can satisfy it to a certain degree, but when you're stage lean, you can eat the fucking world and still be hungry.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And
so,
that's just because your hormone levels are completely messed up. So your
yeah,
hunger hormone, ghrelin, is just like it's completely discombobulated. It has no fucking idea what's
it's just
going on with it.
trying
And
to
it's
eat
just
and eat
like,
and eat.
I am hungry all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
that's why
exactly
you
what
can
you've got to
eat
be
an
aware of.
insane amount. And it will keep telling you to eat, even though your stomach's full. You can feel your stomach's full, but you can still be hungry. You can still be nibbling on stuff.
Yeah.
And this is where you really just got to find sort of coping mechanisms with hunger.
One of the biggest things that I found out, right, was jellies. I see it a lot in my clients who are coming down, like in their prep cycles, and they're obviously coming down a little bit further and a little bit further, and then all of a sudden they start experiencing these bloating escapades, and I'm like, what's going on? What have you changed your food to? Let's have a look at it. So, like, some people with me are on a meal plan because they just find it easier to take the thought out of it, but the majority are on macro counting. So. I speak to them, I'm like, okay, you're getting some bloating, you're getting some digestive distress, maybe some GI issues as well. So like that's upper GI. So they'll have like heartburn and things like that. And we really have to whittle it down as to see what goes on. So I get them to actually screenshot me their fitness pal, because sometimes when you say, just take pictures of all of your food for me and send it over, they'll forget every now and again, or they'll send me a picture of an empty bowl and be like, oh, it was this, but I forgot to take a picture of it previously. It's like, okay, send me your screenshots of your MyFitnessPal, because meticulous people, they will log fucking everything, right? And then I'll see the jellies, and they're the Hartley's 10-calorie jellies, or like there's fuck all in them basically, right? And some of them, depending on the flavor that you have, they're only like 3 calories, but because of labeling laws and that kind of thing, they put it up to 10, but they're only like between 3 and 7 calories, right? And you'll see these people and they'll have like 7 of these things a day, just to kind of feel like they're eating something. And it's like I'm saying to them, do you know that the gelatin that you have in that jelly, that's what's causing you the bloat?
Yeah,
Take it out, man.
and
Take it out.
it's like those sugar-free sauces, man.
Oh, yeah, we talked about those chemical shitstorms.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, well, there's no calories in them, or there's low amount of calories in them, but
there's a fuckload of everything else in them.
I just don't think you could get around it, really.
Nah.
I don't think you could get around being hungry, especially if you're trying to do these sugar-free or calorie-free sauces, or the jelly, or low-calorie little foods, or little food hacks, hunger hacks.
Yeah,
it will have a little bit of an adverse effect, like the baking soda in the porridge or in the oats. Bloat City.
You have like terrible gas after that as well.
I was eating a lot of veg at the time, so I could not differentiate where the gas was coming from. But again, the veg, I was eating so much veg.
Yeah.
I was eating so much veg, and the reason why I knew like it was just a ridiculous amount, because when I went into the off season, I was trying to eat the same amount of veg. I was not well. I wasn't well. I was like, what's going on? And I took the veg out. I was like, shit, I must have been eating a lot of veg. Yeah, it's just, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. But like I said, I'd say the biggest thing would be to just focus on trying to cope with the hunger. Like, probably when you're hungry, you've just finished a meal, go out for a walk, distract yourself with something, listen to a podcast, start a new activity, unrelated of food. Distracting is I would say the biggest thing with coping with hunger.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely.
There's people who would naturally go all day without eating just because they've been busy.
Or they're doing the intermittent fasting thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not a dig at people who do intermittent fasting. There's a lot of people who do it because it fits in with their lifestyle very, very well. You know, to actually eat 1,600 calories all in one meal, it's kind of satisfying as well. So, you know, for people who are on that kind of low calories, 1,600 calories are quite horrible to be low on. So I personally wouldn't like to be on that low. I mean, I have done in the past.
Yeah,
but
me too, man. Me too.
it's not the nicest.
It's
I would prefer to eat throughout the day rather than just kind of like hoard everything for a Domino's pizza.
Yeah, yeah. Like my first prep, I suffered the most, really.
Yeah.
Which I sort of think that was good because the next prep was quite fucking easy. It was still hard. It was still hard. I still had days where I was like, how the fuck am I going to survive this day? You wake up, you're like, I've got no energy. I can't even lift my arm without it being an effort. Like I'd say tomorrow, I'm like, well, please just pass me that right in front of me. I can't do it. I just can't do it. But the first prep, it was just, I don't know, it was dark, man, especially for a first prep. But you find a lot of people go through that. A lot of people do go through that with their first preps because of
lack of knowledge.
Yeah, lack of knowledge. Yeah, and I think the harder they go, the more results they're going to get, and quite often it goes the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, I also think in terms of like the first prep being hard, I also think that apart from the fact that it's a lack of knowledge, I also think it's a fear of questioning their coach as well and questioning their coach's decision. Because it's just like if their coach says, right, okay, we're going to take your carbohydrates down from like 220 to 120 overnight. Yeah. And it would just be like, oh, okay then. So even in the back of your head when you're thinking, why has he done that? Or why has she done that? That was very sexist, wasn't it? Why has he done that?
Why
not
is that
coach, the male?
That?
But you know, if you do have that kind of thought and you can't rationalize it and you just think, fuck, that's a big drop in food, you know, it's sometimes they're fearful of asking their coach that question, but and saying like, you know, okay, so that's a really big drop in food, why have we done that? And sometimes their coach can't back it up.
Yeah, well, trust the process.
Yeah, exactly. Don't question, just do. I hate that, by the way. I hate it. If any fucking coach tells you don't question, just do, tell them to piss off and just say no. There's a big difference between asking a question and questioning somebody.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that you should always be able to ask a question. Everybody is entitled to ask a question. Just kind of say, oh, that's really interesting. Why are we doing that? As opposed to, I'm questioning your theories behind this. So tell me what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big difference.
Well, you know, you're allowed to question, you know, what a lot of coaches forget is they're still in the customer service industry. And
totally.
If a customer is questioning about the service, you have a right to answer that. And if you can't answer that, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
You should be able to explain every single action that you're taking.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And if you as a coach as well are implementing something, you should be asking yourself, why are you implementing this at this specific time period? It's like I've seen people, actually I won't bring that up because that can go into a full-on teddy bear rant and I'm not going to do it. But you as a coach realistically should be questioning your actions as well at the same time, because yes, you are in a customer service industry, but you're also in a health related industry. You are responsible for your athletes' health. And if they come to you saying, do you know what, my hair's starting to fall out, fucking hell, that's a symptom that you should not ignore. It really, really is. It is a sign of really low energy availability. And it's really dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It is. What a lot of coaches sort of ignore as well. It's like, I can't get an erection. I've been 3 months. I've been 3 months into my off season. I can't get an erection. They're like, well, that's just prep.
Yeah, it's not prep. It is not prep. It is not just prep. Yes, your libido can go down, but if you are starting to experience erectile dysfunction, that's a big warning sign. You know, it really is. It's like women losing their periods. Yes, okay, sometimes it's a question of not if, but when. But not all athletes lose their menstrual cycle. You know, they don't, if it's done cleverly. Over the last year, I was prepping obviously a few ladies, and the majority of them, they actually didn't lose their cycle. I had one lady who did lose her cycle, and it came back within 8 weeks. But the reverse that we did, I do still practice reverse macros as well. I do not just kind of say, right, here you go on a fucking epic binge and do what you want for the next 4 weeks. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I do a structured reverse from the stage, but we do it in jumps, and we do have big jumps as well. Because I do think that's very, very beneficial.
That's quite decent. That's pretty much quite close to the recovery diet. So it's not like little sort of increments where, you know, some people are like, right, we'll increment like 100 calories at a time, or it's just something stupid.
No, I don't do that. So the first thing that we normally do, and it obviously is person dependent. So please, because I'm giving this kind of advice on here, don't just think this is the only way to do it. And I don't want anybody else following this, because it's very, very, very person dependent.
Yeah, it's individual.
Yeah, it is very much so. The normality of what I do is I would normally double their intake for 3 days. That's what I would normally do. So just for 3 days, I double their intake, and I just basically say, do you know what? These are the calories that you are going to be having. Just please make sure that you get your protein in, get the calories in. Your carbs and fats can be from whatever you want. I don't want you being restricted for these 3 days. I will give them a complete deload from the gym. If they want to go in and have a bit of fun, then they can do. If they don't, then they don't. If they want to go for a walk, then they can do, then no issues there. But that's for 3 days. Then after the 3 days, I will put them onto a structured macro-based plan on training and non-training days. And again, giving them the option if they want to train and if they don't. So it's not there if they want to have another dealer. Because I mean, if you think about it, coming off the back of prep, you've been training every single day, or, you know, within your rest day periods and things like that. You've been training to a certain regimen for 52 weeks. For me to just kind of say, right, well, do you know what? No training. You're going to be like, what the fuck? You have no idea what to do for those 2 hours in your day that you have specifically put in for training.
Yeah, see, this is where a lot of people struggle, isn't it? Where
Yeah.
they're going towards the prep, and as they're progressing towards their prep, you know, they're diving deeper into their prep. It becomes harder. You have to do more stuff. You have to use more time. You have to motivate yourself more to just do things in the day. And then when that's just suddenly taken away from you, and you don't have to do that cardio, you don't have to do that training, you don't have to tick as many boxes, and you pretty much do the opposite with your food. Instead of bringing it down, you're going up. That fucks with people a lot, and they're like, wow, this massive surge of motivation is gone. This massive drive, and this is where people go into a blue phase of just feeling down and whatever. Where's my purpose? What am I doing now?
That's it. I call it no man's land.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's I've seen people I know do that, and I think it hits worse in your first season. I think it does. And I see people do their first season and come out of it, and they're genuinely depressed. Nothing's giving them any satisfaction in their life, because, you know, their whole life is competing and they're not competing. You know, like, wow, it literally changed in mindset, and it's, I don't know, they've sort of been institutionalized in prep, and to come out of it, they're like, wow, I don't know what to do. I find like, I had a bit of that. I haven't had it as bad as some people who I've seen. So I'd say I've been a little fortunate in that sense. You know, I've still had it. I had it this time round. I don't think it was as bad. I think it gets easier, because I think it does get easier because you just get used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Fluctuating between the two, off season and on season.
That's it. And I think that's the reason why I give people a structured off season, especially for the first 4 weeks. That's one of the big things I will actually say when people come on board with me to prep. I do stipulate that, you know, I have a 3 month I have a 3-month minimum sign-up period. So you're with me for 3 months anyway. If your prep comes to an end at that end of the 3 months, I do also stipulate at the end of a prep that you are to remain with me for the month afterwards.
Yeah.
Reason being, because I need to make sure that all of your health and physiological markers are up and running perfectly, and that you have got a good, stable mental attitude walking away from me. The biggest thing that I saw over the last kind of maybe 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, something like that, the majority of people who were finishing prep, their coach was just like, okay, that's fine. Off you go then, do what you want. Because
Yeah.
they are a
Yeah.
quote unquote prep coach. They've done their prep.
That's how you get fucked up. There's supposed to be an element of care, aftercare,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like Craig on the Jeremy Kyle show. Have you not seen that? No.
I don't watch Jeremy Kyle.
Well, I don't as a rule, but everyone knows about Craig and the aftercare team, except from you, of course.
Apart from me, yeah.
But what I think it helps massively to get away from those post-prep blues, as I call them, is to set mini targets, you know, because I think the main thing is just the main thing that causes that down sort of state is the fact that you don't have that goal, or you don't have these little goals like, right, okay, I need to tick these boxes, I need to drop this weight, I need to get, you know, this lean by this time or whatever, I need to make sure I'm ready. You know, if you were to set mini goals for after that, right, cool, I want to keep my weight below this weight, I want to be eating these amount of foods, I want to make sure my lifts go to this, I want to control this phase, I want to tick these boxes. This is what I'm going to try to aim to. These are my next goals. This is what I want from my off season. I find that helps as well.
Yeah.
You know,
I do the same thing. Like some of the biggest things that I put in with off-season challenges is literally going out for a meal.
Yeah.
Go out for a meal with your family, you know, and because that can like scare the shit out of you in prep.
Yeah,
so really. It's massively scary. So it's like, okay, go out for a meal. That's one of your biggest things this week. I want you to go out for a meal, and I don't want you to restrict during the day to give room for it. I want you to eat your normal meals, just basically when you would normally eat your dinner and your pre-bed. Fuck that off. Just go out for dinner with somebody instead. The other thing that I allow them to do is 9 times out of 10, if they've got a partner, I'll speak to their partner as well and just say, listen, this is what we're going to do in this phase. I want you to surprise them with something. So just kind of say, do you know what? We'll take you out for coffee today. And then you go and order the coffee, obviously get what they want to have. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a black Americano because that's what we do as bodybuilders.
Black
Americano. Get the coffee, but then also get a piece of cake to share and just do it as a surprise and just say, do you know what? This cake looked absolutely awesome. And I thought I'd have it. Let's share it.
Yeah.
And just see what their reaction is. And then their partner tells me their reaction. So I always get, you know, the athlete's permission at this side of things so I can speak to their partner. But their partner tells me their reaction. And like, actually, do you know what? They settled in quite well to it, and they only had 2 forkfuls, but they weren't afraid to do it. Or, yeah, they had none of that cake. They are not ready for that just yet, you know? And it gives me an insight into that person's mentality post-prep. And it's really important.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I find Molly was awesome in that respect because she was like, right, Jack, let me cook for you.
Yeah.
After, like, was not being prompted, but she was like, yeah, I've been waiting to cook for you. Just make something so we can eat a meal together. Let's have a meal together. And I was like, yeah, cool. And that sort of brought me back to normality. It wasn't, I think it was good because, you know, I can still sort of track it in a way, but I'm eating normal foods, if it makes sense.
Exactly, and it's a guesstimate as well, isn't it? So you haven't weighed your chicken to the gram, but Molly's put it on there for you, knowing that you can eat it.
Yeah, exactly. So it sort of helped me ease back into that side of things because this doesn't even apply to just bodybuilders. This applies to people who have lost a large amount of weight and they're going into sort of upping the food, and they're like, wow, okay. You know, when a lot of people who've made that life-changing amount of weight loss for the first time in their life, and they have to eat again. Now, it's taken a lot to sort of get into that mindset of, okay, I'm going to lose weight. I'm finally going to lose weight. I'm going to drop this weight. I'm doing very well. Okay, I'm being very good. I'm allowed to eat again. I've
Mm.
got to eat again. I've got to sort of, to add a bit of muscle on or whatever. So it can apply with that. A lot of people do speak about, what we need to do to lose this big amount of weight, but not what you do after. I think that is talked about a lot.
Totally. Very, very important. And speaking of food, I'm hungry. And we've been talking for a good, what is that, 50 minutes or something now?
I'd say so.
That's quite good. So I think that's going to wrap it up very, very nicely, really. Guys, if you've got any questions based on post-prep feels, or even what I like to call former fat boy syndrome, that's exactly what Jack was talking about in terms of like losing a great deal amount of weight and then being afraid to eat afterwards. Put it in the suggestion box below, or obviously send us a DM and that kind of thing. Suggestion box. For the love of Oats suggestion box, it will be underneath the YouTube video.
Put it in the suggestion box. Write it down and put your envelope in.
That's it. But yeah, that is it from us this week, I think. Mr. Richardson, stacked as always. It has been a pleasure, never a chore. And we'll catch up with you next week.
We have a very special guest next week.
Keep it quiet. We just have to keep things quiet like this. It keeps them guessing.
I'll just say we have a special guest. We have a
special guest next week.
Very special guest.
Tune in to find out more.
Can I give the initials at least?
No, keep it quiet. VM, it's me.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He's giving it away.
Oh, damn.
Damn it. Right. See you in a bit.
See you later.
Bye.